Hobart International Traffic, Qantas 514 Heavy, taxiing to runway 30. Approaching runway 1230. Entered runway 1230. Hobart International Traffic, Qantas 514 Heavy is taking off runway 30, remaining in the pattern.
Sydney Kingsford Airport, ATC information Romeo, time 1236 Zulu, wind 110 at 11, visibility 21, temperature 18, dew point 15, QNH 1033. Remarks, no pattern work. Landing runways 16 left and 16 right, expect ILS approach, departing runway 16 right, advise on initial contact, you have information Romeo. Sydney Kingsford Airport, ATC information Romeo, time 1236 Zulu, wind 110 at 11, visibility 21, temperature 18, dew point 15, QNH 1033. Remarks, no pattern work. Landing runways 16 left and 16 right, expect ILS approach, departing runway 16 right, advise on initial contact, you have information Romeo. Sydney Kingsford Airport, ATC information Romeo, time 1236 Zulu, wind 110 at 11, visibility 21, temperature 18, dew point 15, QNH 1033. Remarks, no pattern work. Landing runways 16 left and 16 right, expect ILS approach, departing runway 16 right, advise on initial contact, you have information Romeo. Sydney Kingsford Airport, ATC information Romeo, time 1236 Zulu, wind 110 at 11, visibility 21, temperature 18, dew point 15, QNH 1033. Remarks, no pattern work. Landing runways 16 left and 16 right, expect ILS approach, departing runway 16 right, advise on initial contact, you have information.
Sydney approach north, Qantas 514 heavy, the view of 23,200.
Descend and maintain 4,000. Maintain 4,000 until established on the localizer. Cleared ILS runway 16 left. Golf with Qantas 514 heavy. Radar contact. Stay approach request. Turn right heading 090. Air.
Qantas 514 heavy is 19 nautical miles west of Metagong at 22,200 feet, requesting ILS approach any runway at Sydney Kingsford.
Qantas 20, continuous files, expecting ILS approach runway 16 left at Sydney Kingsford. Roger, Qantas 20.
Qantas 514 heavy is 17 nautical miles west of Metagong at 21,300 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 16 right at Sydney Kingsford.
Turn left heading 010, velocity 407. November 533 Kilo Quebec, turn left heading 340. Air Canada 773, turn right heading 110. Turn right heading 110, Air Canada 773. Turn left heading 340, November 533 Kilo Quebec. Qantas 514 heavy, continuous filed, expect the ILS approach runway 16 left at Sydney Kingsford. Velocity 833, continuous filed, expect the ILS.
Roger, Qantas 514 heavy.
Qantas 64 heavy is 5 nautical miles west of Wilton at 9,000 feet, requesting radar vectors to Sydney Kingsford. Qantas 25 Papa Bravo heavy, descend and maintain 3,000. Descend and maintain 3,000, Qantas 25 Papa Bravo heavy. Etihad 093 Sierra Quebec heavy, turn right heading 130, maintain 2,000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 16 right approach. November 533 Kilo Quebec, do not exceed 200 knots. Air Canada 773, turn left heading 350. Turn right heading 130, maintain 2,000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 16 right, Etihad 093 Sierra Quebec heavy. Velocity 833, descend and maintain 10,000. Turn left heading 350, Air Canada 773. Qantas 514 heavy, descend and maintain 7,000.
Descend and maintain 7000, Qantas 514 Heavy.
Qantas 307 Alpha Kilo, descend and maintain 3000. Making a right 360, velocity 833. Qantas 25 Papa Bravo Heavy, turn left heading 190, descend and maintain 2000, maintain 2000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 16 left approach. Descend and maintain 3000, Qantas 307 Alpha Kilo. Turn left heading 190, descend and maintain 2000, maintain 2000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 16 left, Qantas 25 Papa Bravo Heavy. Lonix 720, do not exceed 200 knots. Do not exceed 200 knots, Lonix 720. Alpha 9 Charlie India November Delta, descend and maintain 7000. Alpha 9 Charlie India November Delta, make a right 360. Sydney approach north, Qantas 23, with you at 14,600. Qantas 307 Alpha Kilo, do not exceed 200 knots. Sydney approach north, Etihad 95 Romeo, with you at 16,800. Do not exceed 200 knots, Qantas 307 Alpha Kilo. German Cargo 658 Heavy, turn left heading 100, descend and maintain 6000. Etihad 093 Sierra Quebec Heavy, request frequency change. Qantas 777 Sierra Yankee, turn left heading 020, climb and maintain 4000. Making a right 360, Alpha 9 Charlie India November Delta. Turn left heading 100, descend and maintain 6000, German Cargo 658 Heavy. Etihad 093 Sierra Quebec Heavy, contact Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7. Contacting Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7, Etihad 093 Sierra Quebec Heavy. Etihad 95 Romeo, radar contact. Qantas 23, radar contact. India Foxtrot Tango Yankee Tango, requesting ILS approach runway 16 right at Sydney Kingsford. Etihad 95 Romeo is 31 nautical miles northwest of Mangrove Mount at 15,200 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 16 right at Sydney Kingsford. Qantas 23 is 20 nautical miles southwest of Cessnock at 13,400 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 16 right at Sydney Kingsford. Emirates 414 Heavy, descend and maintain 4000, maintain 4000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 16 left approach.
Descend and maintain 4000, maintain 4000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 16 left, Emirates 414 Heavy.
Lonix 720, execute missed approach, turn left heading 250, descend and maintain 5000. Air Canada 773, turn left heading 330. Qantas 20, turn left heading 090, descend and maintain 7000. Qantas 25 Papa Bravo Heavy, contact Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7. Contacting Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7, Qantas 25 Papa Bravo Heavy. Air Canada 773, contact Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7. Turn left heading 250, velocity 407. Contacting Sydney Director West on 126.1, Qantas 777 Sierra Yankee. Alpha 9 Charlie India November Delta, descend and maintain 4000. Qantas 307 Alpha Kilo, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 16 right at Sydney Kingsford. Roger, Qantas 307 Alpha Kilo. Qantas 307 Alpha Kilo, turn right heading 200, descend and maintain 2000, maintain 2000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 16 right approach. November 533 Kilo Quebec, turn left heading 250. Turn left heading 250, November 533 Kilo Quebec. Turn left heading 190, maintain 3000, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 16 left, velocity 407. Lonix 720, descend and maintain 4000. Descend and maintain 4000, Lonix 720. German Cargo 658 Heavy, turn right heading 150. Qantas 013 Alpha Kilo, turn left heading 360, descend and maintain 3000. Qantas 64 Heavy, turn left heading 050, descend and maintain 4000. Turn left heading 050, descend and maintain 4000, Qantas 64 Heavy. Contacting Sydney Director West on 126.1, India Foxtrot Tango Yankee Tango. Contacting Sydney Director West on 126.1, Qantas 013 Alpha Kilo. Turn left heading 190, descend and maintain 3000, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 16 left, November 533 Kilo Quebec. Qantas 514 Heavy, contact Sydney Director West on 126.1. Etihad 95.
Contacting Sydney Director West on 126.1, Qantas 5. Sydney Director West, Qantas 514 Heavy, with US 7000.
Turn left heading 250.
Qantas 514 Heavy is 3 nautical miles south of Holsworthy, Military, at 7,000 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 16 right at Sydney Kingsford.
New Zealand 2 Heavy, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 16 right at Sydney Kingsford. Roger, New Zealand 2 Heavy. Qantas 514 Heavy, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway.
Roger, Qantas 514 Heavy.
German Cargo 658 Heavy, turn right heading 310. Air Canada 773, turn left heading 190, maintain 4000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 16 left approach. Etihad 95 Romeo is 16 nautical miles west of Mangrove Mount at 9,100 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 16 right at Sydney Kingsford. Etihad 95 Romeo, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 16 right at Sydney Kingsford. Turn. Qantas 514 Heavy, turn right heading 050, descend and maintain 6000. Qantas 20 is 18 nautical miles south of Somersby.
Turn right heading 050, descend and maintain 6000, Qantas 514 Heavy.
Ronix 720, radar contact. Sydney Director West, velocity 833, with you at 12,200. Ronix 720, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 16 left at Sydney Kingsford. Roger, Qantas 64 Heavy. Roger, Ronix 720. Qantas 20, turn left heading 150, descend and maintain 5000. Turn left heading 150, descend and maintain 5000, Qantas 20. German Cargo 658 Heavy, turn right heading 310. Qantas 64 Heavy, turn right heading 340, maintain 4000. Turn right heading 340, maintain 4000, Qantas 64 Heavy. Ronix 720, turn right heading 070. Turn right heading 310, German Cargo 658 Heavy. Turn right heading 070, Ronix 720. India Foxtrot Tango Yankee Tango, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 16 left at Sydney Kingsford. Roger, India Foxtrot Tango Yankee Tango. Qantas 23, descend and maintain 5000. Turn left heading 250, Qantas 013 Alpha Kilo. Turn left heading 250, maintain 4000, Qantas 777 Sierra Yankee. Qantas 20, turn right heading 310, descend and maintain 3000. Turn right heading 310, descend and maintain 3000, Qantas 20. Velocity 833 is 2 nautical miles northwest of Wilton at 11,000 feet, requesting ILS approach any runway at Sydney Kingsford. Qantas 777 Sierra Yankee, requesting descent to 3000. Ronix 720, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 16 right at Sydney Kingsford. Roger, Ronix 720. Qantas 013 Alpha Kilo, turn left heading 180, maintain 4000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 16 left approach. Turn left heading 180, maintain 4000 maintain 4000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 16 left, Qantas 013 Alpha Kilo. Qantas 514 Heavy, turn left heading 360, descend and maintain 3000. India Foxtrot Tango Yankee Tango.
Turn left heading 360, descend and maintain 3000, Qantas 514 Heavy.
Ronix 720, turn right heading 130, descend and maintain 2000, maintain 2000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 16 right approach. Turn right heading 340, India Foxtrot Tango Yankee Tango. Turn right heading 130, descend and maintain 2000, maintain 2000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 16 right, Ronix 720. Sydney Director West, velocity 408, with you at 1700. Turn left heading 190, descend and maintain 3000, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 16 left, Qantas 777 Sierra Yankee. Maintain 180 knots until 6 mile final, Qantas 013 Alpha Kilo. Qantas 64 Heavy, turn right heading 110. Air Canada 773, contact Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7. Qantas 527 Heavy, radar contact. Qantas 64 Heavy, increase speed to 180 knots. Increase speed to 180 knots, Qantas 64 Heavy. Ronix 720, maintain 170 knots until 5 mile final. Maintain 170 knots until 5 mile final, Ronix 720. German Cargo 658 Heavy, turn right heading 340. India Foxtrot Tango Yankee Tango, descend and maintain 5000. Velocity 408, radar contact. Turn right heading 340, German Cargo 658 Heavy. Qantas 23, maintain 170 knots until 5 mile final. Maintain 170 knots until 5 mile final, Qantas 23. New Zealand 2 Heavy, requesting descent to 10,000. Maintain 180 knots until 6 mile final, Qantas 64 Heavy. Contacting Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7, Qantas 013 Alpha Kilo. Qantas 777 Sierra Yankee, request frequency change. Qatari 8452, frequency change approved, good day. Frequency change approved Qatari 8452, good day. Sydney Director West, velocity 551, with you at 1100. Ronix 720, Qantas 514 Heavy, turn left heading 2.
Turn left heading 240, Qantas 514 Heavy.
Qantas 527 Heavy, frequency change approved, good day. Australian 806, continuous filed, expecting ILS approach runway 16 left at Sydney Kingsford. Cathay 245 Victor Alpha, continuous filed, expecting ILS approach runway 16 left at Sydney Kingsford. Australian 806 at 5 nautical miles northeast of the wind at 11,800 feet, requesting radar vector to Sydney Kingsford. Ronix 720, request frequency change. Airport in sight, New Zealand 2 Heavy. Qantas 23, contact Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7. Victor Hotel Oscar Zulu Yankee, turn left heading 030, descend and maintain 4000. Velocity 551, radar contact. Ronix 720, contact Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7. Contacting Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7, Qantas 777 Sierra Yankee. Qantas 498, continuous filed, expecting ILS approach runway 16 left at Sydney Kingsford. Roger, Qantas 498. Qantas 498 is 10 nautical miles west of Wilson at 16,500 feet, requesting radar vectors to Sydney Kingsford. Reduce speed to 200 knots, Victor Hotel Oscar Zulu Yankee. Reduce speed to 200 knots, German Cargo 658 Heavy. India Foxtrot Tango Yankee Tango, reduce speed to 200 knots. Reduce speed to 200 knots. India Foxtrot Tango Yankee Tango. Roger, November 44 Whiskey. German Cargo 658 Heavy, turn left heading 24. Qantas 514 Heavy, turn left heading 180, maintain 3000, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 16 left approach.
Turn left heading 180, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 16 left, Qantas 514 Heavy.
November 44 Whiskey, maintain 4000. Descend and maintain 6000, Qantas 498. Maintain 4000, November 44 Whiskey. Turn left heading 090, descend and maintain 6000, Jetstar 821. Velocity 833, continuous filed, expect the ILS approach runway 16 right at Sydney Kingsford. Roger, velocity 833. Velocity 833, turn left heading 340, descend and maintain 5000. India Foxtrot Tango Yankee Tango, turn left heading 250.
Qantas 514 Heavy, request frequency change. Airport in sight, Qantas 514 Heavy.
Qantas 28 Heavy, radar contact. Qantas 514 Heavy, maintain 180 knots until 6 mile final.
Maintain 180 knots until 6 mile final, Qantas 514 Heavy.
Maintain 1.
Airport in sight, Qantas 514 Heavy. Qantas
514 Heavy, contact Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7.
Contacting Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7, Qantas 514 Heavy. Sydney Kingsford Tower, Qantas 514 Heavy, inbound on the ILS runway 16 left with information.
Qantas 514 Heavy, 1080 at Niner, number 1, runway 16 left, cleared to land.
Number 1, cleared to land, runway 16 left, Qantas 514 Heavy.
Emirates 414 Heavy, request permission to cross runway 16 right.
Emirates 414 Heavy, hold short of runway 16 right.
Holding short runway 16 right, Emirates 414 Heavy.
Korean Air 081, line up and wait runway 16 right. Line up and wait runway 16 right, Korean Air 081. Qantas 777 Sierra Yankee, exit runway when able, contact ground on the taxiway. Wilco, Qantas 777 Sierra Yankee. Sydney Kingsford Tower, Qantas 80 Charlie Golf, ready for departure in sequence at runway 16 right, departing west. Etihad 95 Romeo, 1080 at Niner, number 1, runway 16 right, cleared to land. Number 1, cleared to land, runway 16 right, Etihad 95 Romeo. Qantas 23, exit runway when able and contact ground, please expedite. Wilco, Qantas 23. Thank you, good day, Qantas 777 Sierra Yankee. Sydney Kingsford Tower, German Cargo 658 Heavy, inbound on the ILS runway 16 left. Korean Air 081, wind 080 at Niner, runway 16 right, cleared for immediate takeoff. Cleared for takeoff, runway 16 right, Korean Air 081. German Cargo 658 Heavy, wind 080 at Niner, number 2, runway 16 left, cleared to land. Number 2, cleared to land, runway 16 left, German Cargo 658 Heavy.
1000.
Qantas 80 Charlie Golf, your number 3 for departure. Roger, Qantas 80 Charlie Golf. Korean Air 081, contact Sydney Director West on 126.1. Emirates 414 Heavy, cross runway 16 right.
Contacting Sydney Director West on 126.1, Korean Air 081.
Crossing runway 16 right, Emirates 414 Heavy.
Sydney Kingsford Tower, Victor Tango Charlie Hotel Echo Super, ready for departure at runway 16 right, departing straight out. Sydney Kingsford Tower, velocity 833 is 10 nautical miles to the north at 3,200 feet, inbound for landing with information Romeo, requesting runway 16 right. Emirates 414 Heavy, contact Sydney Kingsford Ground on 126.5.
Contacting Sydney Kingsford Ground on 126.5, Emirates 414 Heavy.
Velocity 833, 1080 at Niner, number 2, runway 16 right, cleared to land.
100.
Number 2, cleared to land, runway 16 right, velocity 833.
10.
Victor Tango Charlie Hotel Echo Super, line up and wait runway 16 right. Line up and wait runway 16 right, Victor Tango Charlie Hotel Echo Super. Qantas 514 Heavy, exit runway when able and contact ground. Please.
Zuko, Qantas 514 Heavy.
Etihad 95 Romeo, exit runway when able and contact ground. Please expedite. Wilco, Etihad 95 Romeo. November 616 Alpha Charlie, line up and wait runway 16 right. Line up and wait runway 16 right, November 616 Alpha Charlie.
Qantas 514 Heavy, request frequency change.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 16 right, Victor Tango Charlie Hotel Echo Super. Sydney Kingsford Tower, United Qantas 514 Heavy, contact
Contacting Sydney Kingsford Ground on 126.5, Qantas 514 Heavy.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, Etihad 95 Romeo, request taxi to parking. Taxiing to runway 16 right via Alpha, United 071 Heavy.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, Qantas 514 Heavy, request taxi to Bay 51 at the International Terminal.
Qantas 514 Heavy, taxi.
Taxiing to International Terminal Bay 51, the hold short of 16 right 34 left, Qantas 514 Heavy.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, German Cargo 658 Heavy, request taxi to parking.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, Regent 10 Heavy, ready for pushback with information Sierra. German Cargo 658 Heavy, taxi to parking, at your discretion. Sydney Kingsford Ground, Qantas 894, ready to taxi with information Sierra.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, JMC 11 Heavy, ready to taxi with information Sierra.
Regent 10 Heavy, pushback approved, tail to the east. Qantas 894, runway 16 right, taxi via Golf, Alpha, contact tower when ready. Taxiing to runway 16 right via Golf, Alpha, Qantas 894. Pushback approved, tail to the east, Regent 10 Heavy.
Emirates 414 Heavy, request permission to cross runway 7.
Sydney Kingsford ground, velocity 833, request taxi to Bay 34 at the Terminal 2. Emirates 414 Heavy, cross runway 7. Qantas 013 Alpha Kilo, request permission to cross runway 7.
Crossing runway 7, Emirates 414 Heavy.
Qantas 013 Alpha Kilo, cross runway 7. Crossing runway 7, Qantas 013 Alpha Kilo. Etihad 95 Romeo, request permission to cross runway 7. Velocity 833, taxi to Terminal 2 Bay 34, hold short of 725. Taxiing to Terminal 2 Bay 34, will hold short of 725, velocity 833. Etihad 95 Romeo, crossing runway 7, Etihad 95 Romeo. Qantas 777 Sierra Yankee, request permission to cross runway 34 left. JMC 11 Heavy, pushback approved.
Pushback.
Qantas 514 Heavy, request permission to cross runway 7.
Cathay 245 Victor Alpha. Qantas 514 Heavy, hold short of runway 16 right.
Holding short runway 16 right, Qantas 514 Heavy.
Qantas 80 Charlie Golf, line up and wait runway 16 right.
Line up and wait runway 16 right, Qantas 80 Charlie Golf.
November 44 Whiskey, exit runway when able and contact ground, please expedite. Sydney Kingsford Tower, Alpha 7 Echo Zulu Papa, ready for departure in sequence at runway 16 right, remaining in the pattern. Wilco, November 44 Whiskey. Victor Hotel Oscar Zulu Yankee, contact Sydney Kingsford ground on 126.5. Qantas 514 Heavy, cross runway.
Approaching runway 34 left. Enter runway 24 left.
Jetstar 821, exit runway when able, contact ground on the taxiway. Qantas 80 Charlie Golf, wind 080 at 9 runway 16 right, cleared for immediate takeoff.
Qantas 514 Heavy, request frequency change.
Line up and Qantas 514 Heavy, contact Sydney Kingsford.
Contacting Sydney Kingsford ground on 126.5, Qantas 514 Heavy. Sydney Kingsford ground, Qantas 514 Heavy, request taxi to parking.
Sydney Kingsford ground, Seabird 5, ready for pushback with information Sierra.
Taxiing to International Terminal Bay 32, will hold short of 16 right 34 left, Victor Hotel Oscar Zulu Yankee. Seabird 5, pushback approved, tail to the north. November 44 Whiskey, request permission to cross runway 7.
Pushback approved, tail to the north, Seabird 5.
November 44 Whiskey, contact Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7. Sydney Kingsford ground, Delta 40, ready to taxi with information Sierra. Contacting Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7, November 44 Whiskey. Delta 40, runway 16 right, taxi via Golf, Alpha, contact tower when ready. Taxiing to runway 16 right via Golf, Alpha, Delta 40. Jetstar 821, taxi to parking, at your discretion.
Taxi to parking, Jetstar 821.
Sydney Kingsford ground, Jetstar 991 Heavy, ready for pushback. Qantas 777 Sierra Yankee, request permission to cross runway 7. Sydney Kingsford ground, Cap A245 Victor Alpha, request taxi to Bay 33 at the International Terminal. Jetstar 991 Heavy, hold position. Holding position, Jetstar 991 Heavy. Qantas 777 Sierra Yankee, cross runway 7. Crossing runway 7, Qantas 777 Sierra Yankee. Sydney Kingsford ground, 178213, ready for pushback with information Sierra. Cap A245 Victor Alpha, taxi to International Terminal Bay 33, hold short of 16 right 34 left. 178213, pushback approved, tail to the east. Taxiing to International Terminal Bay 33, will hold short of 16 right 34 left, Cap A245 Victor Alpha. Pushback approved, tail to
Approaching runway 07. Enter runway 07. Qantas 514 Heavy, request permission to cross runway 7.
Thank you. Good day, Etihad 95 Romeo. Qantas 514 Heavy, cross.
Crossing runway 7, Qantas 514 Heavy.
Stand by, UTS 330 Uniform Papa Heavy. Jetstar 821, request permission to cross runway 7. Pushback approved, Victor Hotel Foxtrot India Foxtrot.
Jetstar 821, cross runway 7.
Crossing runway 7, Jetstar 821.
Qantas 514 Heavy, taxi to waypoint via Cap A245 Victor Alpha.
Taxiing to waypoint via Qantas 514 Heavy.
Sydney Kingsford ground, Qantas 777 Sierra Yankee, request taxi to parking. Cap A245 Victor Alpha, contact Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7. Qantas 514 Heavy, hold position.
Holding position, Qantas 514 Heavy.
JMC11 Heavy, request frequency change.
Qantas 777 Sierra Yankee, taxi to International Terminal Bay 25 via. Taxiing to International Terminal Bay 25 via, Qantas 777 Sierra Yankee. Sydney Kingsford ground, Victor Hotel Oscar Zulu Yankee, request taxi to Bay 60 at the International Terminal. Cap A138 Heavy, contact Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7. United 071 Heavy, contact Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7. Qantas 514 Heavy, taxi to International Terminal Bay 51 via.
Taxiing to International Terminal Bay 51 via Qantas 514 Heavy.
JMC11 Heavy, contact Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7.
Sydney Kingsford ground, November 116 November X-ray, ready for pushback with information Sierra. Contacting Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7, JMC11 Heavy.
Victor Hotel Oscar Zulu Yankee, hold short of runway 7. Hold short of runway 7, Victor Hotel Oscar Zulu Yankee. November 116 November X-ray, pushback approved, tail to the west.
Pushback approved, tail to the west, November 116 November X-ray.
Sydney Kingsford ground, Wagon Air 2407 Heavy, ready for pushback with information Sierra. Wagon Air 2407 Heavy, hold position. Holding position, Wagon Air 2407 Heavy. Sydney Kingsford ground, Qantas 59 Heavy, ready for pushback at Information Sierra. Qantas 59 Heavy, hold position. Holding position, Qantas 59 Heavy. Sydney Kingsford ground, Qantas 499 Heavy, request taxi to parking.
Sydney Kingsford ground, Victor Hotel Foxtrot India Foxtrot, ready to taxi with Information Sierra.